The Future Sound of London's Did Cities, that was released in 1996, was the introduction for me to Future Sound of London. I knew about the group, and I've seen the Lifeforms album, which was released in '94 at the CD stores, but I always just passed it up because I wasn't into ambient music at the time, and but I gave it a go with Did Cities because of, well, basically the album art was so scary, and it was essentially like a dystopian atmosphere where chaos was thrown into, like a wrench was thrown into society, and that scary old man that you see on the cover is either a zombie or a dead grandfather. Obviously, at the time, I kind of looked at it and I was like, seriously, how did they make this old person look green? And it was 1996, and essentially, I think I could say that either it was Brian Eno or Future Sound of London that got me interested in ambient music. I was interested, but I was more into Eurodance music, house music, techno, essentially techno music, and ambient music was it wasn't dance oriented, and it ambient, for better or worse, was just more, to me, sounded like new age music. And I was really into techno and house, but Did Cities, which was released in 1996, was really a turning point for Future Sound of London. Gary Cobain and Brian Dugan's that are behind Future Sound of London, they came from Manchester, and they were going to the university up there for electronics, and they got together, and one of the first the track that really got them going is Papua New Guinea, which was released on their 1992 debut album. And then, of course, Lifeforms came out in 1994, which I was aware of, but I didn't actually listen to it or get into it. So Did Cities, of course, came around, and I went, oh, okay, I'll give it a try. The moment I put the CD on, I was blown away by the absolute the quality of the music. I mean, whoever was the engineer behind Did Cities, most likely the two of them, Brian Dugans and Gary Cobain, they did an amazing job, because the music just like jumps out at you when you hear it, especially the first track, Herd Killing, which is edit, or a small edit of We Have Explosives, and which I didn't know in the past, but apparently it was a smaller edit of We Have Explosive, without having that computerized voice say, we have explosives, we have explosives. It's only around 2 minutes long, but the break beat and the drums on it are just so in your face. Apparently, they take from Run DMC from the 80s. It's a sample that they took, but they do a very, very good job in trying to make it sound as a brand new song. So the first, I would break up the album into two sections: the first half and the second half. The first half, up to the fifth song, everybody's doing something in the world without me, I believe that's how it goes. All the tracks are very good. There's Herd Killing, the first track. Then, of course, Did Cities, which has a sample of Lawrence Fishburne's voice, and very ominous and very scary, to say the least. But the music of Did Cities, I mean, the actual track, the second track, Did Cities, is so exceptional and so surreal, so unique. I honestly did not hear anything like that, and this is where I felt, okay, this is not new age music. This is ambient, experimental, maybe like trip hop music, or like ambient house, similar to the Orb. But this album was truly, it's not new age. Forget about that. This is totally different. This is something that they came about themselves, and they really worked on it. And unfortunately, this album was the last album that they released in the 90s. And probably also into the early 2000s, they did release some other music under a different alias, but as far as Future Sound of London, this is the last album that they created in the 90s, which was released in 96. So, going back to the tracks, after the second track, Did Cities, there is, I believe it's We Have Explosives. And that song, either you love it or you hate it. There's a lot of people out there that don't like it. It's a very irritating song to them. But then there's others that say that track is really good. I can see where I can sense or feel for both opinions. I like the track as well, but to tell you the truth, it's probably the most repetitive song on the album, and it can get irritating at times. So you have to be in the mood to hear it and know what you're getting into. It's a very repetitive song, which you could possibly hear at a nightclub or at home, but definitely it's not a track that you can just put on and relax. And then, of course, the track after that, her face forms in the summertime, is kind of a classical ambient new age. Well, strike that. Not new age, but essentially what you would consider ambient music. There's some acoustic samples played on that track, and it's very mellow, very laid back. I personally either like it or don't like it. It depends on the day or when I'm listening. Either I'm in the mood to hear it, or but overall, I don't like that track too much. It's just it's too mellow for me. But then the fifth track, I believe, everybody is doing something in the world except for me or without me. That track and the vocals of the lady that sings the track. First of all, I first thought it was a entire choir that was singing, but apparently it's just one lady, a Canadian singer, I believe. But that track is so pure and so beautiful. I think, in my opinion, it's one of the best tracks off the album. As you hear the female singer singing, essentially, I'm not quite sure what she's singing. It's not words, but it's essentially just this very angelic voice, and in the background you can hear this atmosphere, this very brooding, scary atmosphere, and you can hear like this beast or animal or lion or some huge mammal of sorts that is or maybe like it's the Gmork from Neverending Story, the wolf. But man, this beast, whatever it is, must be much bigger than a wolf. It's maybe like a lion or something, or a panther or something like that. But it sounds amazing the way they combine the angelic voice in that track with the sound of that beast going like it's just waiting on its prey to attack. It's just so it's so out of the world experience on that track. Like I say, it's one of my favorite tracks off the album, and yet it's very peaceful. So then after that, the first single that came out off the album was My Kingdom, and that's the track that follows Everybody in the World is Doing Something Except for Me or Without Me. And My Kingdom is very interesting. It has a lot of samples. Apparently, it has a sample from the soundtrack from Harrison Ford's Blade Runner, and also there's some other samples on My Kingdom, which I feel is very well put together. But from there on, the second part of the album starts, and it's kind of neither here or there. It's kind of really in order to digest the album, you have to take time. There's just no way around it. There's so many twists and turns on this album, and going from this genre to that genre, from trip hop to ambient to acoustic, It just runs the gamut of different styles of music, and so the second half is of the album is my I don't like it as much as the first half, but definitely there are some interesting tracks and some really annoying ones too. But like I said, the mastering of this CD or this album, or the soundscapes that you hear on this album are just like nothing else I've heard before since '96 when it was released. I did buy it back in '96 at a CD store and been listening to it since then. So it's been a long time, and I do feel that this album, Dead Cities, is probably the best work from Future Sound of London. The kind of output that they put on this album is second to none. I mean, of course, there's people that either you knew about Life Forms that came out in '94, or you were introduced to FSOL, or Future Sound of London, through the album Dead Cities. Dead Cities is more kind of a dark ambient. I would consider it more dark, obviously dystopian, very sad in many ways, but the soundscapes are just will blow your face away. Life Forms is more of a kind of like a paradisical experience, kind of more upbeat, not upbeat, but more light, filled with light. But the Dead Cities is more dystopian and more kind of if society fell apart and you were left to fend yourself by yourself, no assistance from nobody or anybody, possibly just living within the dystopian society, or lack of society, with a very gruesome existence. That's the kind of feeling that you get from Dead Cities, and the artwork and all is just second to none as well. It just builds upon the actual music itself. It's an all in all concept album, I would say. Those kind of concept albums that they used to make an entire album on one subject. Well, this entire album is essentially a dystopian, atmospheric experience that you can have if you listen from beginning to end, and it's just a sonic experience from that is created by one of the leading bands of the '90s in the electronic era or electronic age, dance music. This is not obviously, apart from maybe We Are Explosives, you could possibly play at a nightclub and enjoy and dance to it, but otherwise this is an album that you would put on late at night at home and listen to it and contemplate your life. No, I mean, like, it's a very dark album, but a very beautiful album. So in regards to rating the album, I would give it definitely a high, probably, let's say 8.9 out of 10. Just the absolute engineering of the sound is mind blowing, and the type of beats that and the type of music that they create on this album is just unique all around. Like many say, if you don't feel, or if you never get a chance to hear this album, then you're truly missing out. It's a sonic experience from beginning to end, and take it from me, from someone who has heard the album many times since its release in 1996. It's one of Future Sound of London's best albums. So anyway, that pretty much will take up this review of the album. I hope you enjoyed the album or album review, and let me know what you think, and give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment. What album do you like the most from Future Sound of London? And I'll see you in the next review very soon. Bye bye.